everyone, it's Fraser. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about signs and how you will know that a loved one in spirit is there and visiting you. And this is something they get asked about all the time. People say to me, Matt, how will I know when my loved one in spirit comes to visit? Well, first of all, to answer this question, I want to bring you back and talk about what actually happens when we die. Because understanding about what happens when your loved one transitions on, you'll actually understand the ways that they're using to reach you from the spirit world and the signs to look for. When I talk about signs, I'm not talking about signs like dragonflies, butterflies, repeating numbers. I'm talking about first attempt signs. So first attempt signs, or spirit touch points, as I like to call it, is when a soul first gets to the other side. When your loved one first transitions on, it's a transition, right? They go from being a physical body to being an energy form. And first of all, I don't want to freak you out because people say to me all the time, well, Matt, what does that mean? What does that mean that we go from a physical body to an energy form? Does that mean that I'm just air? Does that mean that, I can't be seen in the afterlife? Does it mean that I'm just like electricity? Well, yes and no. The truth is that we can't see our loved ones with our naked eye, right? Unless you're a psychic or a medium. And even psychics and mediums, they rely on something called the third eye to be able to see and connect with your loved ones. But what I want you to know is that in heaven, souls can see one another just like you're seeing me right now. They have eyes, legs, feet, and toes on the other side. But to us as humans, because we can't see into their world, because their world isn't physical, it's energy, a lot of times it's hard for us to really grasp or understand when they're coming and visiting us, checking up on us, or when their presence is near, because it's not like we experience them here in this world. So first of all, let's talk about it. You know how I told you that your loved ones are an energy form? Well, one of the first ways that you can know when a loved one in spirit is coming to visit you is through orbs. What is an orb? Well, this is the most important thing because a lot of people have a misunderstanding of what an orb actually is. An orb is like a little distortion in a picture or seeing a floating orb in your house. For example, there was a woman who just emailed me not too long ago and she was so freaked out. And by the way, I've gotten so many emails just like this one. A woman emailed in, she went to put her daughter to sleep. And when she went to put her daughter to sleep, she turned on the baby monitor and she was woken up at 3 a.m. and she saw this orb floating around her daughter. And as the orb was floating around, her daughter woke up and was actually following the orb with her eyes. And the woman was so freaked out, she went into the room, turned the light on, and of course there was no orb that she could see, but yet it was picked up on the camera. Well, when I went to go and tune into that picture, I could see that it was actually her father who had passed away that was coming and checking up on that child. And of course, her question to me was, Matt, that's so weird. Why is my dad a circle? Why is he an orb? What is that, right? Well, it was actually the presence of her father. So what I mean by that is that when your loved ones pass away, they're not this. They're not an orb. They're not a circle, okay? They look just like I look right now. They look like themselves in the afterlife. But the problem is that as humans, we can't see that. And our cameras and our technology can't pick up on their actual how do I phrase this in the correct term? Their actual appearance, right? As they would look in physical body. So what the camera sees is the camera picks up on an orb. So let me just tell me if this makes sense in the comments. When a spirit sees a spirit in the afterlife, they look like me and you. When we see a spirit, sometimes we don't see anything at all. Sometimes we see an orb. Sometimes you see a shadow. Sometimes you see an outline. Even for me as a medium, when I'm connecting with your loved ones on the other side, this is how it goes. When I look out onto the audience, like when you guys see me do live readings at a show, and I say, oh, your mom is behind you, oh, your dad is here. What I'm seeing is a shadow or a silhouette. I see a silhouette that looks like this person's mother. I see a small silhouette that looks like a baby, and I'll know, okay, this soul is with a baby that had passed away. I'll see a silhouette of a dog. I'll see the silhouette of a cat, and I'll know, okay, that cat or that dog is with that audience member. But then something amazing happens. When I go to tune into that soul and I go to tap in and read that soul that's coming through, they go from being in front of me as an outline or a figure or as a shape to next thing you know, being in my mind's eye, how they were in life. So there's a reason for this. When I'm seeing your loved ones in spirit with my own eyes, I can't see them the way that spirits see one another because I'm human, right? My eyes can't see into the spirit world like that. But my mind's eye can. So your loved ones go from being in front of me to next thing you know, it all happens in here through my thoughts. So psychics and mediums all connect with the other side in one way, meaning that when they see spirit, meaning actually see them as you're seeing me right now. It all happens through thought waves. Because just like you, when you're dreaming, okay, that's your psychic space. And all psychics and mediums tap into that space to see and hear the departed. So, what I first want you to know is that orbs are the first telltale sign when a spirit is visiting you. And I love orbs because orbs appear at random. They can be seen with your eye, or sometimes you might not notice it till later on. You might look back at an old family photo, or you might look back at a movie that was taken or a video that was taken of your son's birthday party, and all of a sudden you see this orb that's floating around. These orbs usually come during holidays, celebrations, and events, and times when your loved ones are visiting you. Now, when they come through in orbs, they're not trying to go and photobomb the picture. They can't help it. It's just that their presence is there as your son is blowing out the candles, as your daughter is walking down the aisle, right? And when that happens, what's so beautiful is that all of a sudden your camera might pick up on their spirit visiting. That's an orb. It's the same thing as what many people see in security cameras and baby monitors. And by the way, it's always around baby monitors. Always around baby monitors. It's always around security cameras when kids are present. Because when children are very small and very young, our loved ones in spirit love to go and check up on children. And that's the reason why you might see those orbs on security cameras, baby cameras, kids play cameras, whatever it is. And there's no need to fear. It's just a loved one coming to visit. Which actually brings me to the next way that you can actually tell when a soul is there and visiting you. And that is look to your children, look to your pets. Your pets and your children will actually be the sign that you need to know that a loved one is there and visiting you. What do I mean by that? Well, first of all, because we're born in heaven, our soul, we're born here in this world, but our soul starts in heaven. When we're born here in this world, our soul still has that connection to the other side. We're a fresh new soul. We have a connection to heaven in the afterlife. And because of that, what's so beautiful is that young children are all able to see spirit. Now, many times people don't pay attention when children are talking about imaginary friends or talking about certain things that they've experienced. But if you listen closely, you might hear certain mannerisms that come through your child that remind you of a grandfather that had passed away that they never got to meet, or that remind you of your mom that had passed away shortly before your daughter was born. Mannerisms that young children take on, and you're like, oh my God, that's like my mother. Oh my God, that's like my father. It's actually because they spent time with those souls in heaven before they were born here in this world. And when those children are born, they have that connection to heaven. Now, this is something that we all did. When we were younger, we could all see and hear and experience spirit. Many of us have forgotten about these times, just like we forgot about taking our first steps, right? We forget about the aunt that was in our life when we were first born, because unfortunately, as our brain is still developing when we're a young child, we're not able to hang on to all of these memories and they go to the wayside. But what's so beautiful is that if you've ever had this experience with a child, you'll know how real it is for them in that moment. Maybe your child is afraid to go to sleep because a certain man or a certain woman keeps appearing. Maybe it is that your child is not afraid and they tell you about someone that keeps coming to visit them. Maybe it is that you walk in as they're playing and they're talking to somebody that's not there. If this happens, ask your child questions. Ask them, who are you talking to? Oh, what did they look like? What did they say to you? And then also, if they're telling you that there's a man or a woman that's coming to visit them, go back through some family photos with them. Say, do you see any of these people? Do you know any of these people? And you might be surprised at what that child points out in the pictures. Because I've seen this happen so many times where when you're feeling the presence of spirit, so are your children. And it's not just your children, it's your pets. Pets and children have that filter that we don't. Because they're new souls, meaning because your children are new souls, they can see the spirit into the spirit world because they just came from the spirit world, right? It's almost like when we go and we're in another country. I remember when I went and I visited Peru to help with the missions back when I was younger. And when I got to Peru, after being there for so long, I was there for a couple of weeks, but after being there, I could pick up on the language. It was easy for me to communicate. Even though I don't speak Spanish, after being there for a few weeks, I was able to actually have full sentences with people that were there. And it was crazy to me. All of a sudden, I was just speaking Spanish out of nowhere. I picked it up just by being in the environment. But after I got back to the United States, you ask me something in Spanish now, all I know is how to say, the bathroom or something like that. Puedo ir al baño, right? But the thing is that when it comes to the afterlife and the other side, it's very similar. Children who are born here in this world are born with that ability to see and sense and feel spirit. And as they get older, that ability starts to fade. So if you're starting to feel a spirit with you, and that's how it comes, right? You'll always know a spirit's there because all of a sudden you'll feel like you're not alone in the room. You'll feel like someone's watching you. You'll feel a presence there. You'll feel like just someone else is in the space with you. You'll feel like someone's watching you. You'll feel like someone walked by you. You might even see a shadow or a silhouette or an orb like we talked about. But if you're getting any of those experiences, look at your children, see how your child is reacting. Is that the time when they're talking to somebody that's not there? Is that the time when they told you that someone came to visit them? Next, look at your pets. What are your pets doing? Pets are also assigned to the afterlife, meaning that if all of a sudden your dog is barking at someone and no one's there, that's a sign that your dog is seeing a spirit that had passed away. Now, this happens all the time because the same way that babies and young children can see spirit, pets have a different filter than we do. They have an inner sixth sense where they can tell things that we can't as humans, right? They can tell if someone's a good person, if they're a bad person. They can feel things. You know, pets are extremely, extremely intuitive. And what's so beautiful is that they can often pick up on spirits as well. And that's the reason why I've seen as a medium so many times when pets will actually come back after they've passed away and visit their owners, and their owners who had passed away will come back and visit their pets here in this world. So, for example, if your dad had passed away, and let's say you took his dog in, and all of a sudden, right, you're sitting there watching TV, the dog was asleep, and the dog just wakes up and is looking and getting excited, and no one's there in the room, it could be your dad coming back and visiting that dog. I've seen this happen so many times because our loved ones in spirit don't just visit us, they visit the pets and people that were really connected to them within life, and pets can see them too. And that's why pets don't mourn as hard as we do. Pets know that there's an afterlife, they know that there's another side, and it's because pets can see spirit. They can see into that world and get little glimpses. So yeah, they're sad, when their owner passes away or their owner dies. But what's so beautiful is that you'll notice that those pets rebound very quickly. They heal very quickly. And it's because of the fact that those owners that once were close to that dog or that cat come back and visit from the afterlife. But there's a really big telltale way of knowing when a loved one is there, and that is through electrical interference. A lot of people think about this as being paranormal activity, but it's actually just the way that your loved ones in spirit are felt by us as humans. Remember, your loved ones are energy, which means that when they leave this world and they go to the other side, just like your cell phone, just like your lights, just like your TV remote sends a signal, your loved one is like that. To us in our world, when we pick up on souls that are around us, we feel an electrical interference. Now, what I want you to know is that's the reason why you might have random things happening. I can't tell you how many times as a medium, people come to me and think that their house is haunted because the lights start to flicker, the television goes on and off by itself, the radio turns on, the volume goes up, and they have all of these weird things that happen after a loved one passes, and they're like, what the hell? My house is haunted. My house is haunted. Or if their house isn't haunted, right, meaning that they think that they know that it was because a loved one had passed away, they're thinking in their minds, oh my God, why is my husband trying to scare me? Why is my son who had died trying to scare me? Well, it's not that they're trying to scare you. They can't help it. Here's the biggest misconception. When souls come through electricity, a lot of people think that it's their son or their daughter that had passed away or their father that had passed away going, or a ghost, I should say, going and flipping the switch on and off, right? That they're going up to the TV and making the volume go up and making the volume go down. I've seen so many things happen after loved ones first pass away. Because when loved ones first pass away, they don't know how to channel or communicate because it's a new world, it's a new language for them, it's a new body, right? And they have to go from their world into our world. So the first thing that our loved ones want to do after they pass away is they want to come back and they want to check up on us. But because they're a new soul and because they have a lot of energy, they can make things happen. Like I said, lights start to flicker. All of a sudden, the volume on the television goes up by itself. All of a sudden, you might start to hear a vibration come through your speakers. Like, when you hold your cell phone too close to the speaker in your car or too close to a speaker, and all of a sudden you hear that, You know what I'm talking about? Well, that is actually the same type of interference that happens with souls. It can happen where all of a sudden a light bulb automatically just bursts out of nowhere. Or all of a sudden the battery in your phone just drains out of nowhere. I gotta tell you, here's a little secret. Every time you see me go on television, every time you see me go out on stage, if you notice, I have two microphones on me. I have a microphone here on my lapel, and I also have a microphone in my hands. Because connecting with so many spirits and being around those energies, I can't tell you how many times they put brand new batteries in my pack, and the minute I go out on set, boom, the batteries are just drained. It's because of those in spirit. No one's sitting there draining the batteries, right? It's just that when you're connecting with all of those souls and all of those energies, that interference can be felt by the battery pack, the cell phones, all of these things. So a lot of people think that it's scary when they have those electrical interferences, but it's not something that you should be scared of. When the lights start to flicker, when the smoke detectors go off, but there's no smoke, when all of a sudden your security camera keeps saying that there was motion, or your alarm system is saying there's motion, but no one's there. It's not that your loved ones are trying to scare you or that the spirit world is trying to scare you. It's just that those devices are picking up on a loved one in spirit. So what can you do? Well, when you have those experiences, and by the way, a lot of times you'll know, here's the instant way that you can tell if it's actually a soul that's with you, is you'll get the chills. Chills are actually a way that the spirit world shows you that they're there, because we can feel energy. We can feel energy as humans, and the way that we feel it is through the chills, through feeling that vibration. So when all of a sudden you feel chills run down your back, you feel a coldness come over you, you feel like you're not alone, is you feeling spirit. So what do you do when this happens? Well, when you feel a spirit with you, when you get some of these signs, talk to them. Say, Dad, is that you? Mom, is that you? Mom, I really want to know, are you coming to me because of this, and this? Start to have a conversation. Because when you have a conversation with your loved ones in spirit, you show them that, first of all, you know that they're there. Second of all, you show them that you're open to communicating with them in that way. And you open up the door to them being able to reach you. When you shut it down and you get scared and you run away, your loved ones often will retreat because they don't want to scare you. What they're trying to do is they're trying to show you that they're there, but they don't know how else to do it. Souls can't just appear in front of you in full body apparition. Sometimes they can, but it takes a lot of energy, and you also have to have psychic ability yourself for that to happen. But or have an extremely rare situation. Like, for example, I've seen this happen during car accidents, when someone's close to death, so on and so forth. But for the most part, when souls first get to the other side, before they can start sending signs to us, and they pick the signs and they go through that transition, because the soul is still transitioning and getting used to the other side, they come through in these weird ways. Orbs, electricity, chills, all of these senses and feelings, that interference that happens, that's their way of showing you that they're there and that they're with you. But like I said, it's not something to be fear. It's not something to fear. It's just a little bit weird for us because we can't see them. It's so backwards, you guys, because when talking to the souls on the other side, they can see into our world right now. They can see me crystal clear. They can see me talking to you. They can hear us right now. Your loved ones are actually right there with you, right by your side. But what's really hard is that we can't see into their world. So when all of a sudden these random things start to happen, the lights blow out, the lights are flickering, the alarm's going off, the motion detector is going off saying there's motion when no one's there, all of a sudden we're like, oh my God, that's so creepy, that's so weird. But it's actually just a sign that you have a spirit visitor that's there. And these signs often will come when souls first pass away. These are called spirit touch points. Spirit touch points are the first line of communication that you have with your loved ones after they pass away, because like I said, in the beginning, they're not good communicators. But as your loved ones get to warm up to the other side, they find really amazing ways to reach you. Signs like repeating numbers, signs with numbers that remind you of them. For example, it might be that you keep seeing their birthday reoccurring and reoccurring and reoccurring. It might be on a receipt, it might be on a billboard, it might be on a license plate in front of you. They might use a certain song. Let's say that your brother loved a certain song here in this world and always used to sing it. That song might start to appear when you get in the car and you turn on the radio. Then all of a sudden you go to the store and you hear that exact same song that was playing 10 minutes earlier. It might be that all of a sudden you go and smell your brother's cologne out of nowhere. Someone walks by and you smell it and you're like, oh my God, that's weird. That was my brother's smell. And then all of a sudden you're back in the car and you're driving and you see on the billboard that same cologne being advertised. You know a sign is real from your loved ones because of the repetition. Your loved ones aren't just one and done. They don't just send one sign. They send you proof to back it up. When all of a sudden you're like, this is crazy. I keep smelling the smell. I keep seeing this number. I keep hearing this song. What is happening? What's happening is that spirit communication is working. And it means that your loved one is with you. They're trying to communicate with you to show you one thing, to show you that they're at peace. Their main goal for communicating with us isn't to scare us, isn't to make us nervous, isn't to make us question heaven, the afterlife. It's just the opposite. It's to show us that they're at peace, to show us that they're there and with us, and to show us that no matter what happens in life, they are still there and by our side. So what I want you to know is that if you're getting any of these signs, these are first steps of knowing that your loved ones are there and with you. And it's also a sign that you're ready to see a psychic medium. People always ask me, Matt, how do I know when it's time to get a reading? Well, you know when it's time when you start to see those signs, those spirit touch points of all of a sudden feeling their energy, lights going on and off, feeling that vibration is signs that your loved ones in spirit are looking to make a connection. And that's when a medium comes in. When you sense and feel a loved one with you, but you're not sure who it is, or you're not sure what they're trying to say, well, it means that there's a deeper message that's there. And I see this happen all the time. I see it happen all the time where people get a bunch of signs and symbols, come to me, and then all of a sudden, their dad comes through, their mom comes through, and it was their mom or their dad that was sending them those signs, but they didn't realize it until the reading. So what I want you guys to know is this, is that if you want a reading with me, I want you to know that I am coming back out on the road. I am back on tour, and all of my tour dates for the rest of this year are now up on my website. So just go to meetmattfraser.com, meetmattfraser.com to find all of the places that I'm at. And what's so amazing about these tour dates is that during these tour dates, I do one thing, and that is read as many people as possible. So if you're coming to one of my shows, I don't care if you're sitting way in the front or way in the back. If there's a message from your loved one, I will get it to you. You just have to make sure that you're there. Or if you can't make it to a tour stop, I want you to know that on my website, you'll also find online readings on Zoom. So all the readings that you see here on YouTube, on Facebook, on TikTok, all of the readings that you see where I'm reading people across the internet, those are not private readings, you guys. Those are live online group readings that you can attend with me. It's just $22 to sign up. You just have to go to meetmattfraser.com and click on online readings. The sad part is that being on tour, I can't do that many. So make sure that you signed up for one because I can only do a couple a month. If I'm even lucky. It all depends. And people say, nah, I wish you did private readings. And I know I wish I did too. But the problem is that going from city to city to city, writing my books, filming what I'm filming, doing all the things that I do, it's just impossible. But during the Zoom online readings and my tour stops, I'm able to read so many people. But one of the things that I want to let you know is that if you're really worried or wondering about what actually happens during the transition process, there's actually a lot that happens when your loved one goes to the other side. It's not an all of a sudden experience. It's an experience for your loved ones, meaning that when your loved ones first pass away, they meet with their guardian angel, they meet with their spirit guide, they meet with all the people that had passed on before them, like their mom, their dad, their sister, their brother. And what's so beautiful is they do this huge look back on their life. It's called the life review. And if you've ever wondered what your purpose in life is, why you were put here on this earth, what you were supposed to do, well, that's what the life review is like. The moment that we die, we take a step backwards in time. We see the moment that we were born. We see the moment that we took our first steps. We see us as a child. We see us growing older. And then we realize why we were put here on earth. And what's so beautiful is that your loved ones during this life review aren't able to just see their life review. They're also able to see you. They're able to see your purpose in life, who your soulmate is, what's going to happen to you 5 years into the future, 10 years into the future, and so much more. So I'm so excited to announce that I wrote a new book. It's called Don't Wait Till You're Dead, and it's available to order right now. This is my newest book, and it talks all about heaven, the afterlife, and the life review. And more importantly, how we can make changes in our life right now. Imagine what it would be like if we got to do our own life review, if we got to see the challenges that we had in life, the success that we had in life, the people that we met in life, and wondered why it all happened. Well, in this book, not only am I going to take you through the life review process, but at the end of the book, you get to do your own life review, and you can start making positive changes in your life now. Because what Spirit tells me is that if you're living, breathing, and walking, it means that God still has a purpose for you. So that being said, you can order Don't Wait Till You're Dead right now, anywhere that you buy books. Amazon, Books A Million, Audible, if you can stand my accent, audible.com. Where else? Oh, Books A Million. Just make sure that you get your copies in because we only have a limited number of hardcover. I'm so excited about this. But in the meantime, if you're not getting signs from a loved one, sometimes your loved ones are just waiting from cues for you. So if you haven't received a sign from a loved one in spirit, here's what you can do. Talk to them. I know it sounds simple, but you can do it in your head. You can do it out loud. You can write a note down on paper. Talk to a specific loved one, whether it be your dad, your mom, your sister, your brother, and say, Dad, I'm ready. Mom, I'm ready. I'm ready to hear from you. If you have a sign, if you have a message for me, get it to me. And what I always ask my loved ones to do, because obviously as a medium, I'm connecting with everyone's loved ones all the time. I always ask them to hit me over the head with a sign. Send me a sign so that I will know right off the bat that it's really them, that they're really with me, and a sign that I can't possibly miss. And I want you to take that same advice. If you're not seeing signs, be like, Mom, I need you to send me a sign so I know without a doubt it's actually you. And to test the signs, what you can also do is you can ask them for a specific number. For example, ask them for a number that means something between you and them and be like, listen, if you've got this message, send me this number. And you will be amazed at how that number pops up within your life. And here's the reason why. Numbers are the easiest way that your loved ones can communicate with us here in this world. So try it out. Let me know what you think. And if you found this video helpful, please share it and pass it on, because I know that there's someone that needs to hear this right now. And more importantly, I love helping you out on your journey. Every single day as a medium, I'm learning something new about heaven and the afterlife and the other side. And when I do, I come back to Facebook and YouTube and Twitter and I post it all on here. So I really hope that my videos have been helping you. And if you would like a reading with me, make sure that you head to my website, meetmattfraser.com, to join me at an online group reading or a live tour stop. But until next time, I'll see you soon, and trust in the signs.